Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Chris and this is the Daily Reflections with Chris, where we talk recovery. Well, I talk recovery, hoping that you guys will talk back through the comments or private messages, either on YouTube or Facebook. You can always look me up. My name is Chris. I do have a Facebook page. So what we do here is we talk recovery, right? And when I started this process, or when I decided that I wanted to start making these videos, I wasn't sure. I mean, I kind of knew, but I wasn't sure, and I was really scared. But when I finally did, I said, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And it was always kind of my plan to be able to share with you guys my experience, strength, and hope as it pertains to my recovery from alcoholism. And that as a guide, I wanted to use the Daily Reflections because it gives us good topics to talk about. So for me, so that I'm not all over the place. And this book always, it's been helping me since I first got sober all 3 times. It really helps me to just concentrate, just focus on something other than my struggles, other than my fears, other than my worries. It helps me to focus on some solution-based topics, right? Not just the problem, but also the solution. And when I was real early in recovery, I mean, I couldn't think about anything other than my problems. I had so many of them, right? So this book, it's actually helped me in the beginning to just kind of get my mind off of that and into my recovery. And now that I've been here for a few 24 hours, this book really just helps me to get deeper, right? To grow deeper in my spirituality, in my recovery walk, and my relationship with others. Just really helping me. So this particular book, it's a daily reader. You can read it as many times as you want, for as many years as you want. I've been reading it for I think the first time around I read it for like 1 or 2 years, right? I was very loyal to this book, right? So, okay, so we'll get started. Today is March the 8th, and it's a long one, so please bear with me, okay? If you need to get up and go to the restroom and come back, that's cool, because it's kind of a long one. So let's get started. March 8th, turning it over. Every man and woman who has joined AA and intends to stick has, without realizing it, made a beginning on step 3. Isn't it true that in all matters touching upon alcohol, each of them has decided to turn his or her life over to the care, protection, and guidance. Sorry about that. And guidance of Alcoholics Anonymous. Any willing newcomer feels sure AA is the only safe harbor for the foundering vessel he has become. Now, if this is not turning one's will over and life over to a newfound providence, then what is it? That's out of the 12 and 12, page 35. Goes on to say, submission to God was the first step to my recovery. I believe our fellowship seeks a spirituality open to a new kinship with God. As I exert myself to follow the path of the steps, I sense a freedom that gives me the ability to think for myself. My addiction confined me without any release and hindered my ability to be released from my self-confinement. But AA assures me of a way to go forward. Mutual sharing, concern, and caring for others is our natural gift to each other, and mine is strengthened as my attitude toward God changes. I learned to submit to God's will in my life, to have self-respect, and to keep both of these attitudes by giving away what I receive. That's pretty neat. I never thought about self-respect as an attitude, or submission to a higher power in my life as an attitude. That's pretty neat. So it talks a lot about like when we first come in, right? Like, if we're already in the rooms, if we're already willing to seek help, aren't we in some way already turning it over to a higher power? Even though some may not think so, or some may think that turning it over to a higher power looks totally different, right? Like what you see in church, what you hear in videos, that you gotta get. And I don't have nothing against that, okay? I go to church, somebody once touched me and I fell to the floor. It was very it was a very neat experience because I had always wanted to experience that. And a couple of years ago, I was able to experience that. But before then, I didn't have a lot of those experiences. So, so turning it over in my mind looked so much different than what they're trying to show me here, right? They're trying to say, well, it doesn't quite look like that. Turning it over means you just do little things every day to improve your life. And that's how you turn it over. In other words, take the suggestions, do the steps, read the book, right? Those are the things that they teach us that we can start doing, not only to learn more about ourselves and our alcoholism, but to learn about the solution, which is how to help others. And how do we help others, right? Well, we carry the message. We share. We have mutual concern and caring. And trust me, people, in the beginning, it was not for me. It was not easy for me to share. Nor was it easy for me to care or have concern for anybody. I mean, I didn't even know how to really have that for myself, right? I just knew that when I first got here, the only thing that I wanted was to stay drunk or to stay high. That was my main focus in life. All those dreams, everything I had was just gonna have to wait because I just needed to do this right now to survive, right? To survive the spiral that was my life, that it was going down, and the faster it went, the more that I thought I needed. And there was never enough. There was never enough of those things. There wasn't enough women. There wasn't enough drugs. There wasn't enough alcohol. There wasn't enough that. I mean, like, I just kept chasing that thing, and the stronger I chased it, the worse things got, and the harder I fell, and the less could I make decisions, the less could I think for myself, the less could I have respect for myself, the less could I submit to anything, much less a God, the less that I could care about how you feel or think. I just didn't have it. And coming in here, being so beat up and so helpless, and just thinking like, there's gotta be something better than this life I'm living. And having my very first spiritual experience, I never had one before, and I've been praying since I was a little kid. And at age 27, I had my very first spiritual experience, sober, not sane, but sober. And I remember that being like, it was evidently something had happened to me. I couldn't deny a higher power anymore after that. I couldn't deny that there was something, that there wasn't there something trying to help me or look out for me or helping me or saving me. I couldn't deny that anymore because my life has never been the same ever since then. I feel like I died and I was reborn. It happened without me even realizing it. Was some of this stuff forced on me? Yeah. They're like, if you don't want to go to jail, you got to take all these classes. They sent me to anger management. They took me to family, parenting. Even though I didn't have a lot of that stuff going in my life, they sent me there anyway. And then they made me go to these, they taught me about chemical imbalances and all kinds of stuff, all this stuff I had to learn. And it felt forced because I had no choice or I was going to go to jail. But it's not forced today. I do this because the results are there. Doing the work has shown me that this program worked. Turning it over shows me that I can truly be independent of myself. The more that I put my dependence upon a higher power, I really like what it says right here. Now, it says, as I exert myself to follow the path of the steps, I sense a freedom that gives me the ability to think for myself. In that moment, I've sensed the freedom of not having to go get high, the freedom of not having to chase a drink, the freedom of going to my home when it was my quiet home. A lot of stuff happened that day that I cannot explain, because so many times I've asked those people to leave. So many times I wish I would be going to a different home. So, you know, all those times that in the stories that I've told you here, not so long ago, I would cry. I would pray myself to sleep. Right, that was before I had my very first spiritual. I was having a bunch of things were happening that was cool, but I remember that day still feeling somewhat frustrated in the evening because of what was going on, and just thinking like, God, there has to be something better. And when I went home, all those people that were still hanging out there on all those nights that I prayed myself to sleep were gone. And slowly they went away. They no longer needed me. I didn't have anything that they wanted. I was sober now. So they all kept moving, and they moved along. Today I know that I could think for myself. You know, people say a lot, oh, my best thinking got me here. Why? Because my thinking was just about drinking. That my thinking was all about that life. And when I got that one thing happened through prayer, through turning it over, and that freedom that I got that says, you know, you don't have to think about that no more. I can trust my best thinking today. My best thinking says, call somebody. My best thinking says, shh, don't say nothing. Not yet. My best thinking says, I'm going to go to a movie today instead of going to get drunk. It's attitude. It's an attitude, self-respect for myself. Can you believe that? Man, I haven't had that for a long, long time. And even, you know, and I do come across it. I mean, you can't do these steps and not learn to have self-respect for yourself. There's no way. That's what these steps are all about changing you from the inside out, changing me from the inside out. So there's no way that I could do all these steps and still feel the same. Still hate the Chris that I am, still hate my life, still hate what I'm doing, still be unappreciative, still feel lack. I mean, I can't, but that's not what this recovery is about. Actually, recovery is about everything opposite. Okay, maybe you don't believe in God. Maybe you're not ready to submit to God. I mean, you're probably, if you're anything like me, you're not ready to submit to a lot of things, like your boss at work, or your wife, or your girlfriend, or your husband. But submitting to the steps. I submitted to the steps, and all that other stuff came afterwards. Came with it. It just came during. I don't know how to say it. The longer that I stayed, the more that I worked towards completing the 12th step, the more that I changed on the inside, and the more that things became clearer. Where when people ask me for something, I could say yes, or I could say no. And it's not submission or letting them have all that control. You know, it's not any of that in a negative way. It's just like, I want to be happy today. I really want to be happy. And if I go to work and they tell me to do something I don't want to do, I'm still going to do it. When before I would fight them, man. Oh my God, I would fight them tooth and nail. They're not going to make me. You can't make me. There's no freaking way. I hate you. I hate this job. I'm out of here. F y'all. I mean, like that's what my pattern was before. That was my best thinking before. And today my best thinking says, hey, Chris, really, do you need to be right? I mean, or would you like to just be happy, or to be happy? And sometimes it's like, man, I just want to be happy. I don't want to have these crazy. Okay, then let's go. Let's do the work. She asks you to do something. Now go do it. It's going to be all right. And if they don't notice you, doesn't matter. My God has a last say so on everything. Every effort that I put at work, every effort that I put into building a relationship, everything that I work for that doesn't turn out right, God's got me. I know He does. He's been having me this whole time. I would not be making these videos if he didn't have me. I would not be another day sober if he didn't have me. I would not be all bills paid up right now. If he didn't have me, trust me, if he didn't have me, I'd be homeless, pissed off, mad, drunk, blaming everything on the world and how bad it's treated me. And for this guy here to stay sober, he's got to do it every day. And that's okay. Because it's way easier doing the steps, turning it over, talking to somebody, sharing my experience, strength, and hope with people. Man, it sounds like a lot of work to keep my recovery, but it's not as much work as it was. Knocking on people's doors at 3 o'clock in the morning, looking for drugs, looking for, driving around town looking for an open bar who would open for us. Yeah, ain't no crazy who could open for us. There's no way. We were all lit up trying to get more booze. That's just that just attracts cops. Ain't no bar want cops in their bar. Not even during open hours. Why would they? Much less after hours. You know, I would just do things that were so depleting. They depleted my soul. They depleted my heart. They depleted my life. They depleted my energy. They depleted my financial resources. They depleted my belief in God. They depleted my friendships. They depleted love. They depleted it. I mean, it just, man, it was out to destroy me, and I couldn't see it. I had to be removed from that world completely. Take a good look, and if I still wanted to go back, then go back. But if I didn't, that I had a solution that I could get into, that I could work if I wanted to, right? So the more I slowly started giving into this spiritual thing, more and more, and the more I did it, the better the results were, and it turned out to be a pretty good deal. I love thinking for myself. I love that I can have an attitude of, you know, submitting to a higher power and self-respecting myself. I love that. I could tell you a million times how good it feels to turn it over. I could tell you a million times. I could tell you my first step story, or my burning bush experience. I mean, like, I could tell you what that experience was so like a million times. But there's nothing like feeling it for yourself. Folks, if you're out there and you say, man, that'll never happen to me, I'll never experience, prove me wrong. I would say prove me wrong. Go out there, try it. And if it doesn't work because I'm full of crap, then don't watch me no more. But if you go out there and it changes your life, you surrender completely and something happens, you have that your very first spiritual experience. If that's you, if that's what happens, then share it with somebody. That somebody else might have the same hope that you had in that moment, or that you have as a result of that moment. You know, people, when I first started coming to AA, to recovery, they knew I didn't believe them. They knew that I was still skeptical. They knew that I needed to see it to believe it. And you know what? That kind of attitude, it kept me stuck, because I was watching people come in after me and get better than me, faster than me. And when I finally decided to go and ask somebody and be like, man, tell me your secret. And they said, I got in the book and I worked the steps. I said, thank you. And I went home and I found those books and I started working the steps. Got me a sponsor, started doing the do, because I wanted what they had. And I didn't know if it was going to work in me, but I saw it working in them. And that was enough proof for me to want to give myself entirely to this program. To do whatever they say. What? Turn it over? What? Pray? Okay. Let's go. Maybe that's you today. No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be you anymore. Find, Google prayers, any kind of prayers for healing, for trouble, for frustration, whatever. You'll find them. Just pray something. Pray something tonight. And then all you can do is give thanks and just do that. Thank you. Thank you that I made another day sober. And in the morning when you wake up, be like, thank you. I made it again. It's not because, I don't want you to do it because that's what I do. I want you to do it because I know that works. I suggest what works, and that works. Somewhere in the book it says, the first and why of it is that I had to quit playing God. How do I do that? Very first step, turn it over. Turn it over. Let the real God take over. Let the real God handle the situation. Let the real God provide. Let the real God come through. Folks, I know it's late. My eyes are getting bitty. Because it's about to be March 9th pretty soon. Sorry it took me all day to make this video, but I really wanted to, so I came on here way last minute. Tomorrow, I have a plan. I'm gonna get up earlier to do March 9th in the morning. Something about when I do it in the morning, really kind of like, it feels like I did something. You know, I feel like I had a productive day when I make these videos in the morning. But till then, I just want to thank you again for your time. You're not alone. I'm here with you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section. And things go well. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.